Okay. I'd like to welcome everyone to Steve Tees Off, brought to you by riversidegolf.ca. Ken Poirier and his team down in South Surrey. Without his support, we would not, this podcast would not go on. It's Steve Tees Off. And I'd encourage everyone to subscribe. We're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, all the streaming platforms. But I would like to welcome Jason Chung. Thank you very much for coming. Jason, you are a physiotherapist, and we have not had the luxury of speaking to somebody that, and I think I can speak personally from my own age that I didn't pay a lot of attention to my body playing, and golf is something that you can play throughout your life. Yeah. Okay, you start young. The one thing that you realize as you get older, you have to warm up. You can't just go out and whack the ball.
Yeah.
But the one thing I have paid a lot of attention to over the last, I would suggest over the last 5 years, is my own personal fitness as it relates to golf. And the thing is that what I did find out was that the more I paid attention to it and the more I worked out, I'm not going to say the easier the game was, but the better I felt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I think that in the last, I'll say 10 to 15 years, and me being somewhat of a student to the game, like a shitty student that I don't like, there's the players that play on the tour, and I say male and female, they're fit. Mm-hmm. They are more so than they ever were, because there's a lot of money at stake too.
Oh,
Tons of money. But my point here is that if you look after yourself and you do the things that you should be doing, and I'm not suggesting you got to go and work out for 2 hours every single day, but you should stretch. You should do those things that you do. And I'm living evidence of that it is, the game is easier. I still can, my hips don't kill me. Those kinds of things, the things that happen as you age. So we'll start off here, Jason, by a quick introduction to yourself and your background, Ion Performance and Wellness Clinic, and how you got started in physiotherapy. And we'll talk about your area of interest in golf and how long you've been working for golf. So that kind of goes, I know it's a lot of things that I just said, but let's start with that.
Perfect.
Okay?
Well, first off, thanks for having me, Steve. Appreciate the opportunity to talk about golf and just, share a bit of my humble knowledge about what we can do as physiotherapists in the game of golf. So I grew up on the Sunshine Coast from Gibson's, and I started playing golf when I was a little bit younger, only here and there. I just never really took it serious, just having fun with it. But my dad was a member at Seashell Golf and Country, and he would take me out as a kid. And to be honest with you, I didn't like golf as a kid. I was more like, oh, it's too slow for me. It's like, this isn't the action-packed game. Like basketball was more my thing. But more recently, I just picked up a passion for it. A little bit about me and my background. So I started off studying as a kinesiologist at the University of Calgary, and I kind of got into that because I got injured in high school, and I had a really bad hand injury. It's called a scaphoid fracture. Had to go for a surgery in my senior year. Ended up missing a lot of the season, and then I got into rehabilitation. All right, so long story short, I didn't have the greatest experience with my current therapist at the time, with my rehab process, and that kind of got me more passionate about how I could help other people stay healthy, play the games they love, and reduce their chances of injury, and just get back to sport. Then after Calgary, I then studied my master's of physiotherapy. And that was out in England. So I started at the University of Brighton, had a lot of experience out there, traveled through Europe, worked with a lot of different sport teams, and then delved into a bit more of the sports science, did my strength conditioning certification as well with the NSCA, and worked with a variety of different athletes throughout that kind of whole process. But that's just a quick summary of my background there.
So what does your name came up when we had our previous guest, Krista, who is the head coach of the SFU golf team, and she actually said to me, "This is somebody that you have to talk to because you work with the SFU golf team." Mm-hmm. How did you get involved in that role?
Well, I think with my passion for golfing, I started to kind of dive into a lot of the research and the science behind it. I'm like, there's a lot of research for other different sports, right? A lot of people talk about, oh, you have to work out, you have to train, you have to prepare for performance. But I felt like golf really wasn't at the forefront of that. And like you said before, it wasn't really thought about previously. It was just kind of like, oh, you just go, you hit the ball. How hard can it be?
Yeah.
Right. So I dove into a lot of the biomechanical research, and I'm like, there's a lot of stuff that we can really help out with here. And I actually I reached out to Krista, and I said, hey, like I'm happy to just kind of chat to see how I can help out with the team and see if I can contribute somehow, just because I have a passion for it. And I feel like it's a lacking kind of area where a lot of golf athletes could utilize. So then I started working with them with TPI screening. I don't know if you've heard.
What is that?
So Titleist Performance Institute.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was founded by Dr. Greg Rose, who's a chiropractor down in the States, and he works with a lot of the top golfers on the PGA Tour now. And they looked at a lot of ground reaction forces, mobility screening, how to identify what limitations could affect your golf swing. So I kind of applied that screening tool to the SFU golfers. Kind of looked at what are your limitations here. Oh, maybe you have limited hamstring mobility, or is it your hips, or whatever it might be. And taking that into context and looking at how that could affect your swing. Right, so that could lead to swing faults, or maybe, for example, you're working with a technical coach. For example, Krista could be trying to get them to do a certain movement, but their bodies don't allow that, right? That's kind of where I would hop in and be like, okay, well, maybe there's something we could look at here to identify specifically, can we work on this to allow you to get to your position that you want, right? We'd also looked at using force plates. I don't know.
What is that?
So there's different types. There's Hawken Dynamics, there's Vald, there's Swing Catalyst. Swing Catalyst is the most specific type of force plate you can use to look at. It basically looks at 3 planes of motion. So you have vertical force, you have horizontal force, and you have torque, which is the main 3 forces you would look at in a golf swing. Impossible to see to the naked eye, right? So if you have a golfer on these plates, you can see the timing of when they produce that force, and that has a direct correlation to their golf swing.
How do you measure that?
So that's through the plates, right? So you get them to stand on these essentially 2 plates, right? And you say, swing, take a swing. And you take a couple samples of it, and it'll pop up on the data. Kind of hard to explain without actually visualizing the data, but then it tells you how much force they're producing. You have the normalized parameters. So you can compare that to PGA Tour players and say, oh, how far off are you, right? And then when you take that data and the TPI screen, you combine those together. Now I have all this information of this player and be like, oh, you're lacking in vertical force, right? Or maybe it's the horizontal force, and we can train that, right? So then I can apply that in a gym setting.
Explain you talk vertical force. I know vertical,
Yep.
okay, horizontal.
Yep.
What does that mean in relation to the golf swing?
So when you perform a backswing, right, you're translating your weight from front to back, right? There's a little bit of a weight shift.
Yep.
When you perform the downswing, that's where all your power comes through. So the timing of vertical force is directly correlated to your club head speed. So the higher you can produce that force and the faster in the timing, the farther you can drive the ball, right? So you look at some golfers on tour, for example, who's a good example? Jake Knapp. He looks like he's not even swinging that hard. But if you actually looked at his forces on the plates, you would see his vertical force is probably immense, right? But yeah, so basically it's the ability to produce force into the ground, so then the force pushes back against you.
Okay.
Right. So it's the equal and opposite reaction.
So is that something that you can, like, I'm not going to say I'm too old to do that, but is that something that you can, like, I look at, I haven't paid much attention to my swing speed until the last couple of 3-4 years. And I know what my swing speed needs to be with the driver in order to hit it so far. I do. And people don't realize, and it's not just all 100% swing speed when you're swinging. It's not. There's multiple factors that go into it. But if I see somebody swinging the club head, a driver 80 miles an hour, you're not going to hit the ball 270 yards. You're just not. It's
doesn't work.
Physics. Yeah, it's physics. But is there anything, can you do, and I ask this question on behalf of myself, is there anything that you can do to increase the club head speed at whatever age you happen to be at? Or is it just the law of diminishing returns as there's a question there.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's a great question. Contextually, let's just say skill level wise, obviously skill technique has a huge role, right? If you're not skilled, your smash factor reduces.
Yeah.
Then you can only do so much, right? But if we're talking purely all things equal, let's say they're all scratch handicaps, right? Regardless of age, I think you could definitely continue to increase or at least maintain your kind of swing speed as you get older, right? I think typically after the age of 45 is when you start to slow and you start to, diminishing returns. But for the majority, I would say there's definitely a potential to increase your club head speed from a physical standpoint. With proper programming and training. There's a study by Dan Copeland, he works with England Golf. There's a lot of good research about golf if anybody ever wants to read about it, but he did a study mainly with younger golfers, but over a 12-week course, all of them gained club head speed just by doing a very simple 12-week program. Like just properly programmed, consistent, and it's just like nothing fancy, just consistency and just the right things were addressed.
Are these, and I'll ask, this is another question that I have. The players that play on tour, I look at, if I can get with a driver, I can get 105 miles an hour with my club head speed, and I know I can hit the ball however far it is, and I know that's gone down. It has, but when you see a guy generating club head speed of 120 miles an hour, and ball speed of 180 miles an hour, that's freakish. Are these guys freaks before they even I always ask that question. Are they just like phenoms? Like you have to have a certain amount of natural ability to be able to do things. But at the same time, how much is that from training?
I think it's a tough question to answer because there's so many different factors that go into different types of players. Right. You have who I would define as freakish would be more like Kyle Berkshire.
Yeah. Well,
like,
he is
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Right. Amazing. Or Martin Borgheimer. Like those guys, that's like
long drive guys.
That's long drive. You gotta have something already, I think, to get to that point, whether it's excessive hypermobility, being able to gain more range to generate more
Are they
speed.
wrecking their bodies though doing that? Like a guy like Kyle Berkshire, is he wrecking his body doing that? Like, is there going to come a time where he's not going to? Like, I always remember Lee Trevino when he first saw Tiger Woods swing a club.
Yep.
He said, "There's no way he's going to make it past 30," because he saw how he went after the ball, and you can't. And the one thing I credit Lee Trevino for prolonging my golf life is that he said you can turn your left foot open your hips up as you get older because your mobility goes and I started doing that probably 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And it helps.
Yeah.
It helps me get through the ball.
Yeah.
But those, the question, because there's some freaks, they're just like
born with it.
Yeah. And you but the thing is that you won't be able to maintain it unless you look after yourself either.
Yeah, I think that's the key thing here. To answer your question about Kyle Berkshire, is he going to wreck his body? I don't think necessarily, because I think he puts in the work, and in order to get to where he was, he probably already had to do the appropriate training. He has a great team behind him, I'm sure, giving him the proper research, evidence, advice to maintain his health. And I think as long as he takes care of himself, working out, doing the right programming and recovery, I don't see why he can't continue doing it for a pretty extended period. I can't say how long for sure. I have no idea. But I think that's what starts now, especially with youth golfers too, doing the right programming and training. And the guys on tour now, like I think a new stat came out. It was like 66% of the golfers now, they actually have some sort of periodized training program that they apply on tour. So they have like a pop-up gym essentially that's set up. They'll try and go use it. 66% of them will go and use it. Whereas before, the Tiger era, it was Tiger and VJ.
Yeah.
That was it.
The rest,
nobody else
drinking beer.
Exactly. Right. So, I think times are changing.
Yeah. And now it's just getting, and you have to be on top of it's only the top 100 now. So you got it's a true meritocracy and you have to look after yourself.
Yep.
And it is. So your role with SFU, how long have you been working with the golf teams there?
Just around 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah, 2 years or so now. Yeah.
Okay.
Like that.
And what stands out about working with collegiate players? What's the thing that stands out versus the average weekend player? Because we're not going to, obviously, I'm sure that do you deal with some pro players too come in to see you, or
not quite
not
pro.
quite?
Yeah.
Okay.
Collegiate level, probably.
Collegiate level.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between it when you're dealing with a collegiate level person or player or a hack like me who comes in to see you? Do you have a lot of hacks like me coming in?
I'm a hack myself, so I can't really say anything.
Mm-hmm.
The main difference, I think, would probably be the consistency that a college player puts into their program. So if I give them some advice, right, and I'm like, okay, for example, SU golfer comes in, they're like, hey, Jason, this is bugging me. Like, I don't know what to do about it. All right, let's take a look at you. We do the assessment. We figure out a treatment plan. Here you go. They'll come back, and in a week's time, we'll check in, be like, okay, how was it? Be like, I did everything you said. I stuck to it. You know, I'm committed to it, and they're very dedicated to their craft. Whereas some, not all, hacks, if we will, average golfer, comes in, like, Jason, something's bothering me. I don't know what to do about it. Here you go. Here's your plan. And again, I want to emphasize this isn't for everybody. This is a few. And they'll come back a week later and they'll be like, you know, nothing's really changed too much. And I'm like, did you do anything? And they're like, nah, I just went to hit more balls. And I'm like, well, you didn't follow the plan, did you? Yeah. Right. So I think the difference is that consistency and dedication to their craft, which is, again, makes sense because a collegiate level golfer or a higher level golfer would have, you know, spent a lot more of that time because they want to compete at that high level. You know, it means more. Right. So I think they have more at stake in that regard. Well,
I'll tell you this, that like we'll get into the golf injuries and the one thing that I talk about myself personally that I've learned is I've learned my body. I've understood my body. Whereas, you know, and as I've gotten older, there's a pinched nerve I'll get, or, you know, my forearm, something it's just, you tweak something. But I tweak less of those things now that I pay attention to what I'm doing. One of the issues that I've always had is my hips. Okay. And that was, it was so bad at the end of a round, I could barely walk. But now when just some simple stretching and some turns with up against the wall and just keeping my hips loose, it's important that I have to do that. And what that means is that as big as of a pain in the ass that it is, I have to do it. Unfortunately, it's taken me a number of years to realize that you have to do it.
Yeah.
You actually have to do it. And I understand when you're dealing with hacks or I say the average golfer, they go, oh, I'm busy. I've got this, there's always something else to do.
Yeah. Which is fair enough.
That's right. There always is. But it is, like, I do believe that as we're understanding, as we get older, or we understand more about our bodies, and if you're willing to learn, you can play well for a long time. You can.
Absolutely.
You really can. And I'm I'm not saying that I'm that old, but I am. The thing is that I am still able to hit the ball.
Yeah.
And and it is, no matter what anybody says, this game is ego driven too. You want to hit the ball a long way. It's you drive for show, you putt for dough, and everybody wants to pound the ball as far as they possibly can. But it's also, can you do it without hurting yourself too?
Definitely.
And that's an issue. That's something that I don't believe that it's been at the forefront for very long. It's just, and I'm sure, how long have you been practicing for?
As a physio or for
physio?
Probably, I was kidding, physio, probably over total rehab stuff, 10-ish years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you must have you've seen some changes probably have you seen changes in the clientele that you have coming to see you with regards to golf? Have you seen more, and I say people that are progressing in age, I don't want to say older, progressing in age, coming to see you looking to, are they coming to see you without injury, or are they coming to see you with injury?
That's a great question.
That's kind of what I was getting at.
Yeah. So I think definitely initially, like earlier on, the mentality with golf specifically was like, if I'm not hurt, I don't need anything. Why would I go? Right. Why would I go get physio or strength conditioning or anything like that? I don't need it. Right. Again, not everybody's like that, but that was I would say majority of the field would think like that. Now, more recently, I'm getting a lot of junior golfers coming in, right? They understand. So I work with Team BC sometimes as well. So a lot of their junior golfers will come and they'll seek me out and they'll be like, hey, Jason, like I'm not hurt necessarily, but I want to find a way to improve my physicality, or I want to be more resilient to injury, right? So I think that has become much more at the forefront. And working with a lot of these athletes, it's like, hey, let's develop a program for you. We'll think in season, off season. We'll start periodizing your season. When do you play the most, right? And then why would we have to modify your program? But I'll go into more detail after. But yeah, so I think there's definitely been a change in that process, especially for younger golfers coming in now, more so than ever, which is pretty cool to see.
What do you say the majority of the golf injuries that you have coming to you, what are they?
Well, statistically, it'd be low back.
Low
be
back.
the highest one. And then I believe it'd be elbow, wrist, hand, and then shoulder. That would be the most common types of injuries. But low back, just because it's so involved in the golf swing, right? You generate all your force and your torque from that area. And most of the time, if you have some sort of a swing fault, you're early extending or something like that, your back typically will take a lot of the force, right? You'll see a lot of golfers in the tour, they'll have a lot of side bend, right? And typically, because golf is one-sided, it's typically the same side that they side bend to, for the most part. Not always, but it depends, right?
And you see the thing is, what was that? It was the Players where
Malkowich?
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
He couldn't play.
Couldn't play.
Yeah, it was just a practice swing and I'm done.
That was it. Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
And if that can happen at that level, that happens. That's why I don't take practice swings.
Just go right at it.
Let's go right at it. Just go right at it. And
then you go Mully, swing the Mully boys.
that's exactly it. That doesn't count.
Yeah.
But that was interesting because I did watch that. I was like, he just took a practice swing and it was over. Done.
It can happen to anyone.
It can happen. It can happen. So, the thing is, what I'm getting at here is that there's preventative measures that you can take, and is the golfing public becoming more attuned to the fact that you can take preventative measures to ensure that you're not going, or not ensure because you never know, but to better combat future injury.
Yeah, like I would emphasize, you never know when an injury is going to happen. You can never fully prevent it, but you can try and at least reduce your risk in a sense, right? So building tissue tolerance, and I think that the general public is starting to become a bit more aware, right? Just through educational sources, resources, is becoming more public. Tour players are talking about it. Like, for example, the Morikawa incident, people will see that and they're like, oh, wow, even he gets hurt, right? Maybe I should think about that. But I'd say it's more prevalent in more of the collegiate level golfers I work with, or more elite. I think they're a bit more, I would say they take more initiative early on to try and address those issues now, more than ever before. Yeah, so it's definitely becoming more prevalent.
Yeah, the thing is that there's always, and I say this, is that there's a mindset that you just play through it. If it hurts, you just play through it. But that becomes more difficult. It really does, because when you have something that's nagging, that just won't go away. If you don't, I've like I said, I found this out over the last 5-6 years. I really have. That if I look after myself, and I'm not saying, I don't suggest everybody do this, but this happened to me a couple of years ago. I was, it's a little bit of a funny story, but I was golfing with my son, and we're in the power cart. We're in the cart, and he takes a hard turn right, and I fell out of the cart.
Oh no.
Okay. But the thing is, I didn't get hurt.
That's great.
I didn't. And I attribute that to the fact that I look after myself. I mean that.
Yeah.
Because if that would have happened 10 years ago, that would have been the season. But I'm not suggesting people fall out of golf carts or anything like that. But it's not the best idea. But those things happen.
Yeah.
They do. Like little things. Like, if you're walking with your everybody wears plastic cleats or there are no steel cleats anymore. But when you're walking on something, on the slippery cart path or something like that, you slip.
Yeah.
And that's happened to me too. Or even on grass.
Yeah.
You just slip. You're not paying attention. And you can pull your groin. There's a lot of things that can happen.
Yeah.
And they have happened to me. you know, and you go, okay, I caught myself.
Yeah.
And had I not, and I'm not suggesting that I'm in perfect shape, but I'm in better shape than I probably was 10 years ago when I was golfing, just simply because I'm cognizant, and I've gone to my therapist forever, you know, and he just says, he's like, okay, do this.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it, you're not going to, it's not going to get better. And if it nags, I come back and he goes, well, you didn't do it, did you? You weren't doing it.
The walk of shame.
Exactly. It's the walk of shame. Exactly. And shout out to Taylor Birkenshot out in South Surrey. But I've been going to him for years, and he knows, like he knows my body. He knows that, you know, if you've got a pinched nerve or whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
But I'm able now, and I mean this when I say it, because I pay attention to it, and I pay attention to what he tells me to do.
Yeah.
And if I do it, it seems to work. The unfortunate thing is you don't learn those things until you're older.
Yeah.
You know, because you can just go and swing as hard as you possibly can. But I know I can't do it now unless and sometimes a little side story here is that sometimes I overdo it.
Don't we all though?
That's right.
We all do that.
That's right. You overdo it, and you know you don't listen to your body.
Yeah.
And go, okay, I shouldn't be doing this. One of the things, and I'll ask you this question too, Jason, the climate here. We can play golf year round, but in the winter months it's cold, and I don't play in the winter anymore because it's just
weather.
That's right. I am a fair weather guy. It's got to be warm. Yeah. But the thing is that a lot of golfers still do golf in the winter. And do you see more golf related injuries in the winter time where people are pulling things or because it's cold and they don't warm up properly?
You know what's interesting? You'd think because they don't warm up properly there would be more, but I think in the summer when the workload is higher, you actually get more.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Again, I don't have a statistic to back that
but it's
up.
anecdotal. The thing is, you're
anecdotal, right? From what I see, yes, injuries occur during the winter season. You know, people don't warm up. They just go out and hit 100 balls, and you're like, oh, I pulled something. And you're like, oh, it's not surprising. But in the summer, because this in-season schedule is so demanding, especially for high-level golfers, right? Yeah. I'll get a bunch coming in that way, and they'll just be telling me, hey, like I'm getting hurt. I don't understand. I'm warm. They'll be like, I'm warm. You know, it's hot. And it's like, well, are you managing your workload? Right. So that's another different thing we have to kind of take into consideration.
Yeah. So I've got specific questions here. What pain do golfers, what pain that golfers get should they not ignore? There's things that happen, you know, your body's telling you something. What's something that you really think that they should pay attention to when they feel that? For myself, it's my hips. I have to pay attention to my hips. My hips tell me everything. It's not my lower back. It's my hips. Yeah. And I've been, you know, I don't walk when I play because I get enough exercise. So I ride, and I haven't got one of those electric
fancy.
No,
carts?
That's just me.
Steve.
Do you have one?
No.
You probably carry, don't you?
I do.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But I just, you know, I look at those electric carts and I go, I've seen somebody put one in the drink in Loomis too. Like,
no.
Oh yeah, I've seen that happen.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. But there's just being an electric cart to me, just the warning lights go off because that just means there's more things that can go wrong on the golf course, and I don't need that.
Fair. Stay focused.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. I have to stay focused. I can't be dealing with my cart, you know, the battery going dead or taking off or whatever it is. And it's just another thing I don't need to think about.
That's fair.
That's right. That's right. But what should golfers this is an opinion, and maybe it's anecdotal too, but that face golfers that they should not ignore?
If we're talking specifically about like a body part, that's contextual and it depends on the person. So that would be tough to answer. But if we're talking about like a specific type of pain, nerve pain, should never be ignored, right? If you get that numbness, that tingling, that paresthesia, you know, electric feeling, it's like you should probably get that checked out just in case, right? Or if you have any sharpness, right? It's always that sharp pain. Sometimes you have that dull, achy, you know, like a post-workout kind of sensation. Maybe you hit a few too many balls. Okay, you get a little sore. As long as it goes away within the 24, 48 hour mark, should be fine, right? But if it persists and it becomes more consistent, that's when I'd be a bit more concerned. But let's take a look at this. Last a little bit longer. It just isn't really going away with rest or modifying your practice sessions. Then I would definitely take a look at it. You don't want it to become a compensatory kind of movement pattern, because then you develop other issues, right? If you can't generate your power through your normal swing, something's going to start to act up, I think, and take over for that to allow you to hit the shot. And then you get long-term kind of injuries, or something starts to get worse, and you have this whole array of issues. So
you've seen, we alluded to this, or we talked a little bit about it at the beginning, that the change in attitude towards golf, and I'm talking about the recreational player, the amateur recreational player, not at the collegiate level. I'm talking about the average hack that's out there. And have you seen a marked change in I say people in general, golfers in general, who are taking more or paying more attention to the mobility, the physical aspect of the game, and say, I know I'm not going to be a scratch golfer. If I can get into single digits with my handicap, I'm pretty damn happy with that.
Yeah.
I am. But are you seeing a marked change or a slight change in people paying more attention to their physical fitness, their mobility, their strength as it relates to golf?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, at Iron Performance and Wellness, I'll have the average golfer will come in, and I think they're genuinely more curious, right? They're more curious about it. They'll ask me questions about it a lot more recently now, especially with all the the publicity of working out and staying healthy and movement and quality in golf. They'll come in and they'll be like, hey, is there something we can do for my golf swing, physicality wise? I'm not a golf coach. I don't even want to pretend to do that. But from a physical side, absolutely. I think the mentality is definitely shifting in that direction. And it's like, I want longevity. Players will come in and be like, I want to, the best ability is availability, right? If you can play, you're happy.
Yeah.
It's the worst feeling. Without pain.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like the worst feeling is like, all your friends are going out and you can't play, right? It's just like, well, is there something we can do to maintain my health and my longevity and stay on the course? Because that's what matters the most to all golfers. Yeah. Right. They just want to be able to play without any pain.
Well, I'll having been through, I the first time I got tennis elbow, I didn't know what tennis elbow was because it had never occurred to me. And I was coaching my son in minor hockey, and they were like 8 or 9, and I told, when they did something wrong, you have to give me 10 push-ups, but I would get down and do, and I thought I'd literally tore something in my elbow. It hurt so much. And then I went to see my doctor, and all he did was grab me right here. He goes, does that pain go away? You have tennis elbow. And I didn't even know what that was. I'm serious when I say that. That may sound stupid.
No, not at all.
But until it happens to you, you don't know.
No.
Like, I seriously thought I had hurt but that takes a long time to get over too.
Yeah.
Like, that is.
It's an annoying injury to deal with. Yeah.
It is, and I've had it a couple of times, but I know what to do to be preventative for it. I have actually the
twists.
Yeah, that's
nice.
right. That's what
Yeah, that's perfect.
And it works.
Yeah.
It works. Yeah. It does work. I haven't had it since.
There you go.
So there's a prime example of, and you
being proactive.
Yeah, being proactive.
Yeah.
Now, the difference, I say older golfers, I keep on coming back to that because I'm talking about my own self here. But I want to keep on, I say this, I want to be able to continue to play the game and enjoy it. Okay. And enjoying it means playing without pain. It really does. And even if you're dealing with collegiate players that aren't necessarily going to go and play on the tour or whatever it may be, these are things that you're teaching for life, right? If you continue, and that's the thing is that if you look after yourself from a fitness perspective, mobility, you do all those kinds of things, and it becomes part of your routine.
Yeah,
it's going. Not only is it going to make you you be able to play golf, but you'll also be less taxing on the healthcare system too.
Yes.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
I mean that.
Absolutely.
I do.
Yeah.
and that begs the question, what do we have to do to have for people to look after themselves? Like, how difficult can that be, Jason?
I think it's a different challenge for every person, right? Everybody has different lives. They have different obligations, responsibilities, family stuff, right? So I understand it may be challenging to find the time, but I always frame it this way to a lot of my golfers or just people in general for health, right? If you want to be available and healthy and enjoy life to the fullest, you got to commit yourself to even just that hour. And that consistency beats, going super intense 1 day a week, whatever. If you're just consistent, maybe even 30 minutes, right? And you commit yourself to that and you make it more of a commitment versus like, oh, I could, right? That is going to pay you longer dividends like overall throughout your life versus trying to do, I'm just doing one really intense workout here and then that's it. And then you burn yourself out, or you just consistently just do 20, 30 minutes. It doesn't always have to be a structured workout. It can be physical activity, right? Go for a walk with your wife or your kids or your friends, something like that, or a hike, or, just do something leisurely. That's still beneficial. And I would frame it that way for a lot of people instead of, some people don't like the thought of the gym. I don't want to do that, right? It's too intense. It's like, that's fine. You don't have to do the gym. You can do something at home. Maybe you like yoga. Maybe you like aquafit. There's plenty of different options, but I think the main key is education and providing that to the general population, golfers alongside with that, and just saying, hey, there's a lot of options you can do to stay healthy. It just relies on consistency. That's the main thing.
Do you see do you have any younger players coming in to see you with injuries? Like,
yeah.
Like what age are we talking about?
It could be, I think you don't really generate enough force on your body until you're probably, I would guess, again, anecdotally around 12 to 14. When you're younger than that, you're not really hitting the ball hard enough. And in golf, you don't have any external factors like you would in basketball where someone runs into you, right? So the chances of getting hurt are a lot less when you're younger. But once you start to get a little bit older and you're applying yourself and applying a lot more force into your swing, that's when I start to see some issues. Or when they start to ramp their repetitions in their practice, right? So going back to that winter thing you talked about earlier, like the winter injuries, one thing I did forget to mention is that practicing off mats. Terrible. I get so many injuries, elbow injuries, golfer's elbow, tennis elbow, wrist and hand, right? Because they're repetitively hitting off these super hard mats on the concrete, right? You're just on concrete. Yeah. So you hit off at driving ranges, unless you have a grass range, but that isn't open in winter, right? So you'll see a lot of those type of things come in, especially younger golfers who are trying to get competitive. They're putting in the reps, they're putting in the work, which that's awesome, but it's just tough to balance that. And I think a lot of the times I'll get a lot of younger golfers coming in, they'll have wrist, hand, a shoulder, stuff like that. And they'll be like, I don't know why it happened. All I've been doing is hitting balls. And it's like, where? And like, oh, I've been hitting it at the range off a mat. And then I'm like, okay, well, there's something we can probably do about that.
Speaking of that, have you done sim golf yet?
Yes. Love it.
That's cool.
Love it. Yeah. How about yourself?
I have. Yeah. I'm a proponent of it now.
Yeah.
It's not real golf, but it's but it's golf.
Would you count a hole in one?
I'm sorry?
Would you count a hole in one on the sim?
That's a good question. I couldn't.
No,
I couldn't.
It'd be like a.
Yeah, there'd be an asterisk beside it.
Okay.
There'd be an asterisk beside it. I consider it to be a hole in one if I get within 10 feet.
You got a lot of hole in one there.
That's right. But it is. You know what? It's still. It is. It's the closest you're going to get to real golf. It really is. And it's getting better and better and better.
Yeah.
It is. And it's fun.
I love it.
Yeah, it is fun. Yeah. It is fun. And you're not out in the rain and the cold.
Yeah, you can't complain about that.
Yeah, you can't complain about that.
Yeah.
But, whether the difference, and I look at, and I always look at myself. I'm being self-centered here when I talk about this. But if there was one thing that you were to say to the recreational golfer that they could do, that would be, I guess, start the road to preventative in regards to and obviously being preventative, you're looking at your longevity and being able to continue to play, and enjoy yourself, not play in pain.
Mhm.
What would be one thing that you would say to, male or female golfer who's kind of, I don't want to say getting to the, I don't know how to put this without sounding, using ageism. But what is one thing that everyone can do to ensure, or not ensure, to at least give that there's a better chance of maintaining strength, mobility, all those kinds of things, in playing playing the game of golf, because we all, as we age, things tighten up. There's things that hurt that shouldn't hurt, and I'll use a specific example. I was hitting balls yesterday.
Yeah.
My ass hurts. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Like,
Fair
I'm
enough.
serious. I did hit quite a few balls, and this morning my bum hurts.
Yeah.
Why does my, and I'm going,
Yeah.
what did I do?
Yeah. Could be various reasons.
And that's never, I haven't had that pain before. That's a new one. Mark it down on the calendar. Okay. But it's getting better. But this morning when I woke up,
Yeah.
Sore. It was sore.
Yeah.
And those are things that I can't, I don't know why that is.
Yeah.
So is there one thing, or am I just generalizing things too much?
I think go get assessed.
Yeah.
I think because it's so hard to just blanket everything. It's everybody's body is different. Anatomy, physiology, movement patterns, everything is totally different. Your swing is different than my swing, right? How you generate speed is different than me, right? So I think the best way, or best thing I would say, is go get assessed. Not necessarily, it doesn't have to be by me. Like,
No, I'm listening, but
Could be
to get
anybody.
assessed, so that where
Exactly.
where you're susceptible to whatever it might be.
Yeah, because then again, just general population doesn't necessarily have to be a golf specialist, right? But if we're talking about golf, right, I would say TPI is useful. Titleist Performance Institute screening is useful. It's I don't think anything is necessarily perfect, but it's a good start.
How long does that take?
Well, once you're used to it, it probably takes 20 minutes, 23 minutes. But that's just a component of like my personal assessment. So obviously you look at your health history, your previous injuries, like your different activities, and then I would test TPI screening. I also utilize at a different location the swing catalyst force plates. Like I'll look at your swing slow-mo, so we have a sim. I'll look at your club head speed, all your different data, your stats, and then the force plates. And then I'll do a physical assessment, right? So I'll look at your strength. So I'll look at compound lifts. I'll look at what is your deadlift, or what is your bench press, or whatever is necessary. It doesn't necessarily have to be those movements, but then I get a general idea, where might you be lacking? Where can we address those issues? Mobility, strength, and swing, right? So then you compact them all together, and now you have a treatment plan. There you go. I can address everything that you want, but I'd have to assess you first. I don't want to guess.
Yeah.
Right?
I understand.
So that's kind of what I would
Highly
say.
recommend that.
Highly recommend if that's what you're looking for, just to understand what you can do. Right? That would be the best way to start.
Well, that answers my question.
Yeah.
You answered my question.
There you go.
When we talk about golf, there's always the like, golf isn't a game. Like, it's not like basketball or football, or you're not getting hit, which is probably why I look at it as a parent looking back. It's a game that you can play where there's physicality, but it's your own physicality. It's not like you're running into people or you're hitting people. It's not like hockey. It's not.
Yeah.
It's just, it's non-contact, but it is contact. And the golf swing. The thing about the golf swing is that there's so many things that can go wrong at any given time.
Yeah.
Like, really, it is. Sorry, there's a bug or something flying around. Shouldn't say that. We'll edit that out.
I think it's right there. It's right here. It's right by your hand.
Oh, there we go.
There it goes. It's running away. All right.
But it's not a game where you're not getting hit by anybody. It is a physical game because there's so many things. Like, it's the only, like, you can shank a ball, which I've done, and gone,
Same.
okay, what happened there?
Yeah.
What did I do?
Who knows?
Who knows? That's right. How did that ball go straight? Right.
Yeah, and then you could stripe the next
That's
one.
right. You hit it pure.
Yeah.
And you're a hero.
Yeah.
And and
Weird game.
that's right. But there's so many things that can go. That's why it's a game that you will never ever master completely ever.
Yeah.
And the moment that you think you're doing is the moment that you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And when you play it, but the thing is, what I'm getting to here is that you talked a little bit about the assessment, and that was informative for me because I've never had that conversation, even with the therapist that I go see, because I'm too, I just, okay, I don't want to say I'm too old.
No such thing.
There's no such thing. There's no such thing. But there's a couple of things that, and I wanted to touch on this, is that you talk about the assessment, but a few realistic things that the average golfer can do from a physical perspective, that they can do without being, and I use the term gym rat. You don't have to, it's as simple, for me, I'll talk about my own thing, it's as simple as I could take a towel and swing the towel. I can stretch with a towel. There's a lot of things that I can do.
Yeah.
There's just to loosen up. But I didn't realize this, that a lot of people, I take my flexibility for granted.
Okay.
I do. And I'm fortunate that I am flexible enough. I've always been able to swing a golf club.
Yeah.
And I take that for granted, that I've always had that, I've always been able to reach behind my back and take a towel and go back all the way down my back.
Right.
There's a lot of people that can't do that. And I don't know, if I wasn't able to do that, I don't think I could swing a golf club, honestly.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. I know that. And then you have the compounded. I've had, I've had carpal tunnel on both hands.
Nasty.
That's right. Talk about numbness in the fingers.
Yeah.
Those are issues. Those are things that come up, and you've got to deal with that.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't know that. It's been probably 2 years now, but there was a while. That's right.
Yeah. You can see the scars there.
Yeah. It and the thing is that it worked.
Yeah.
It did work. And it's surprising that, and I've got my flexibility back. I've got everything. Yeah. Everything's working. So, but I want to reiterate this, Jason, is there's a few, what are some realistic things that the average golfer could do or could to I don't want to say you're not going to negate injuries. But what are some things that I'll say the average hack that might be listening or watching this, they could do just by themselves?
Yeah. I mean, generally just a good mobility routine, right? So just loosening up your hamstrings, your hips, your quads, right? Doing rotational movements, right? Obviously golf is a rotational sport. Simple things like that. You don't need much to maintain, right? So if you're just at home and you want to do a simple stretch, like stretching your hamstrings, mobility, I'm a big proponent of dynamic movements versus static stretching, right? There's a lot of research.
Explain the difference.
Yeah. So static, essentially, I'm just holding my arm, right? So let's say I'm stretching, we'll use your carpal tunnel example. So just hold my wrist. I'm holding this. This would be static. I'm staying completely still. I'm not moving, right? That used to be thought to be the gold standard, but now we know a lot better. There's actually a lot of different movements. Now, if we're talking specifically about golf, let's say we're doing a hamstring stretch and I stick out my leg, I'm holding it straight. That's my static stretch. But now a dynamic stretch would be like a leg swing, where I'm slowly just kicking my leg up and down. I'm still getting a hamstring mobilized, but now I'm increasing circulation a lot more, right? And there's actually studies on different types of dynamic warm-ups that can actually increase your club head speed. So if you want an advantage over your buddies, do a quick dynamic warm-up. You can gain probably 5 to 8 yards.
I'm in.
Easy. Takes 5 to 10 minutes.
Who doesn't need that?
Right? So mobility, I think, is the easiest with the least amount of equipment. Or if you have some resistance bands at home, you can do some resistance training, core training. Again, it doesn't have to be gym rat-esque. You don't need to lift heavy weights for, some benefit. But yeah, so I think those things are easy to do.
So, I've got some quick questions that I want to ask you in wrapping things up. what's the biggest myth that golfers believe about fitness and physio? What's when you have that they believe that they think?
Probably that you'll bulk up if you lift weights. You're
All
going
right.
to get too bulky, and then you're not going to be able to swing because you're going to lose mobility. I think that was one of the most common myths that, I think a lot of people approach me about. They're like, oh, I don't want to lift weights. I'm going to get too big and I won't be able to swing. And I'm like, that's not how it works. So I think that is kind of a funny one that I'll get.
Where did that come from?
Beats me. I don't know. I'm not sure where, but I think it's the thought, you're in the gym rat thing where you're lifting heavy weights. Oh, I'm going to get huge. It's like, actually, it takes a lot of work to build on that size and a lot of dedication to do that. So I think just by doing a simple, consistent routine, you're going to get stronger. Yeah, you might get more toned, right? Which is great.
That's nothing wrong with that.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
But to think that you're going to get too big to perform your swing and you're going to lose mobility, that's actually counterintuitive because we know that if you actually do proper training and you train your full range of motion, you gain mobility, right? So it's like, why not?
Yeah, why not? That's right. So, and if you were to suggest, I think you kind of touched on one thing that golfers could do tomorrow that could start doing it, and it would be mobility, all the types of things that you were talking about.
Yeah.
And one thing that they should stop doing, that they're doing, I know myself that this is one thing that if you're doing this, if you're not warming up,
yeah, probably not the best idea.
that's right. And we still I know this, that showing up at the golf course 5 minutes before your tee time, you never play well.
No.
It never works out.
No, it doesn't.
And in today's day and age, you're paying a lot of money for a round of golf. And you want to ruin it by showing up 5 minutes before. That's
yeah, it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, you're getting what you ask for if you do that. And the thing is that there's also a fine line between getting there too early too.
Yeah. Then
right?
mentally you might start to mess with yourself.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you're talking to a guy here. I don't really like hitting balls. I don't like going on the putting green. I just want to play. But at the same time, if I don't, there's a fine line.
Yes.
And I know what that is. It's like 30 minutes to 40 minutes is good for me.
Yeah.
And then I can get to the first tee.
You're feeling good.
That's right. I'm feeling good. I'm not.
Yeah.
I haven't overthought things. I haven't got into my head yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's inevitably going to happen. So, talking, if people want to play longer, feel better, and you highly recommend coming in and getting an assessment done, seeing where you're at.
Yeah.
And I actually, that's a good thought. That really is. That makes a lot of sense to me. But in wrapping, do all, if you were to go to your, and it just, if you were to go to your regular physiotherapist and you talk, how many physiotherapists actually, I don't want to say you specialize in golf, but how many physiotherapists, does every physiotherapist know what you're talking about when you're going in with a golf injury most of the time?
I mean, generally, yeah, it's like an injury is an injury, right? It doesn't necessarily,
if you're playing soccer,
doesn't matter,
whatever,
right? It's just, you would address it objectively and be like, what is this type of injury? The only difference when I'm talking about golf specific stuff is contextual, right? So it's like, what level are you playing at? When's your next tournament? What's your schedule look like? What do we have to consider? What's your practice routine? What's your current training regimen? I take all those things into account. When's your next session with your coach, your lesson, right? I have to think about all that versus a different type of, sport. Like, let's say I work with a lot of soccer players too, where it's like, it's their running mileage. You don't have that in golf, right? But it's just considering all the different contextual factors for a golfer, right? And modifying their situation. For example, if someone's hurt and they're like, I can't take full driver swings. I've been working with a young junior golfer who is collegiate level now, who came in with a repetitive back injury and he couldn't hit long clubs, right? Initially. And we're like, well, you can chip. So just giving them the allowance and freedom to still practice and not go, lose their drive for like the passion of the game. It's like, you can still get out and practice, but we're just modifying those things. So just thinking outside of the box versus just, oh, this is your back injury. It's still a back injury, but how do we address it with the combination of golfing? Right.
Cool. Okay. So, I got to ask you this question because I ask everyone this question that comes on Steve Tees Off. What's the funniest thing you've seen on the golf course? You're a golfer.
Seen or happened to me.
Happened to you.
I mean, I don't know if it's funny. It's a little bit scary. I was out at Carnoustie Golf Club in Port Coquitlam.
Yeah.
So I was there with my wife, and there was a mama bear.
A bear.
A bear. Okay. Just we've seen her before. She's a local. Just minding her own business. She has 2 little cubs. Right. So we're on the 9th tee box. So it's straight away back to the clubhouse, and we hear rustling in the bushes. We turn around, and we see 2 baby bears. And we're like, oh, that's cute. Where's the mama? And we're looking around, and we see her. She's just kind of on the other side. And we're like, oh, okay, we're not completely in between. We just don't want to be in between the cubs. So we tee off. We just walk down the fairway. Then we notice the cubs are still on our left side. So we're walking down the fairway now. And we're like, we look at the mama, and she's directly across. So we're directly in between her and her cubs. And we're like, she's not going to do anything, right? Like, we just keep walking. We mind our own business. We've been here a million times. And she looks, and I feel like we locked eyes at that moment. And I was like, this is not good. And she starts charging at us. Full on charge. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, what am I going to do here? And obviously I'm like, I got to protect my wife. And my other buddy was there too. And we kind of like, we had our clubs out just in case, like I didn't want to do anything, but if, push comes to shove, I got to protect my wife. And the bear literally stops like camera distance away.
Really?
It's just dead stop, just stares at us. And you're not supposed to run, right? We've been taught here.
Don't run away.
Don't run away, because then they'll instinctually start chasing you. So we stand our ground, we start shouting at it, and then just slowly turns around and just trots away.
Wow.
That was probably one of the, not funny. Well, it's funny now.
It's funny now. It wasn't funny at the time.
It wasn't funny at the time. My heart was pounding out of my chest. But yeah, that's probably one of the craziest things that's happened to me on a golf course.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's the best one, Jason,
there you go.
so far that we've had, man.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's
survived.
That now you know.
Yeah.
Right? Now you know.
Don't run.
Don't run. Just stand your ground. Stand your ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you just kept on walking and
yeah, we left after that. We were done. We were done for the day. Yeah.
That's over.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I've never been in a situation with a bear like that. The closest I ever got was one of the first times I went up to Whistler, and we were staying at the chateau, and golfing at the course, and they've got a shuttle that goes there, and we had finished our 18 our round, and I was going outside with my clubs, and the chap who was working the door there, he goes, "Well, there's a bear out there." And I walked out. I didn't listen to him. The bear was at the garbage bin, which is just down this, I'm going to say 50, 75 yards away from where the stairs were going into the clubhouse.
Right.
And I walked out and I go, the bear's like quite a ways away. And it was a big bear.
Yeah.
And he goes, "You better get back in." And I turned around, I walked back in, and the bear was right at the stairs.
Oh boy.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Going, that bear was fast.
Mm-hmm. They're faster than you think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can run. They can run.
Yeah.
They can run. And we've got bears out here. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So having said all that, we'll wrap things up, Jason. If anybody wanted to reach out to you, it's Ion Performance and Wellness. You're located in Burnaby.
Correct.
Okay.
Just off Canada Way there.
And you've got a website.
Yep. That's all there.
It's all there.
Yeah.
Jason, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you coming out. And you are the first therapist, first person that we've had on the physical side of things for the game of golf. We've talked to a lot of BCPGA members, and so I'm happy that we've kind of broken the ice with the first, and hope to have you on soon again.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you coming.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I
Thank
really
you so
appreciate
much,
it.
Jason.
Yeah. It's been a lot of fun.
Okay, man. Thank you.